Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. My name is Chris, and today we will be going through the patch 1.11 notes. This catches me off guard a bit, the patch 1.11, I don't know why, it just seems a bit odd, doesn't it? 1.11, and here we go. The Call of the Mountain season continues with the latest balance updates, in-game leaderboards, and our first single-player lab, Journey to the Peak. Ooh, single-player lab, I'll certainly be checking that out, maybe like a little puzzle. I guess we'll see. But here we go, straight in with the man of the moment, Aesol, who has changed, it seems, to round end. Your allies have 25 total power. This will be to level up, I'm guessing. We'll read what they have to say about it. We love all the different decks and directions players have experimented with using Aesol. We have seen quite a few, that's fair enough. We definitely want him to be a game ending, but we do want to give players slightly more room to interact with Aesol, particularly his spell shield, particularly since his spell shield prevents most traditional forms of interaction. Makes sense. This is, I think, is a pretty good change. You know, it's not a massive nerf in any way. Like, you know, it's just a bit harder to level him up. You might have to go one more turn of playing a celestial card that costs mana, which might give your opponent one more turn, but it might also not, depending on which one you play. Yeah, I think this just makes a lot of sense. I think it's pretty solid change. It means that, you know, Aesol and one 7+ mana celestial card probably won't be enough, unless you played a lot of celestials. So yeah, makes sense. Like the change overall. Very happy. We'll keep going. So that's the only champion change, so we aren't seeing changes to any other champions. It seems that now we're into the follows and spells. Am I okay with that? I mean, Trundle's quite good, but I don't think, you know, he's too good. Sejuani's pretty good, but again, you know, if they're happy with Sejuani before, they probably will be now. I can't think of any champions that I'm like, whoa, they need changing a lot. No, I think they're mostly okay, at least for now. We'll see. Radiant Guardian. I might be missing one, by the way. If I am, I'm very sorry. Radiant Guardian. It goes from power 5 to 4. Interesting. This is obviously a nerf as well to Remembrance. Now, Remembrance. I mean, Radiant Guardian was always the worst one that you could get from Remembrance, but now it's obviously definitely the worst one by a long shot. So it's a nerf to that as well. And that's a very good card, and I think, you know, having that be nerfed is fine. Although a 4-5 on turn 3 is still a solid ball. It's going to hold down the board for the most part, but, you know, we'll see. A triggered Radiant Guardian can shut down games and be too deterministic in the outcome of certain matchups. Obviously, if you're playing aggro and they drop a Radiant Guardian, you can't kill them the next turn before they attack. You have lost the game. Like, it is that simple. And so I kind of like the change because the card has a condition on it, right? And it's more of a high skill card, like, for your opponent, because if they know, oh, they're going to drop Radiant Guardian on turn 5, so I just won't attack. And I'll just wait and I won't kill any of their units if I'm aggro. You know, that's like a high skill card. It's kind of similar to like Rasa back in the day. Like, you know, higher skilled players would know, don't kill something, because then they'll play Rasa and kill me when Rasa was really good. And, you know, similar sort of things happening with Radiant Guardian now. And I think this change is overall pretty good. I wouldn't have liked to have seen the health get nerfed, then the card just wouldn't have been good enough. But changing this, you know, you get 4 health instead of 5. That's like a decimate. You know, you could maybe come back from like 1 hit, maybe. But yeah. Oh, let's see. They mentioned Darius and Hecarim, which allow opposing units and champions, Darius Hecarim, to make more profitable attacks. Oh, that's a good point as well. That I hadn't really thought about, but that makes sense as well. Yeah, I like that. Experimento becomes a 2-1 instead of a 1-2. Like the change, more aggressive. Yep, aggressive Ionian strategies haven't been able to make great use of Experimento since we last adjusted it. They're making change to picks below as well. Look to give Ionian aggro decks a bit more early power. Makes sense. I mean, making it a 2-1 obviously does mean that it dies to Parlay, Make It Rain, Twist of Fate, you know, all the 1-drop, all the 1 damage pings, but it does make it more of a threat as well, and its ability is okay, not amazing. Still not sure if that will really make the cut, but we shall see. Maybe there's an aggressive Ionia Z Lulu, something like that, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, see, if this was summon, I think it would make a lot more sense. You might think that that would be too good, but I think if it was summon, obviously then it would synergize really well with the Allegiance card in Ionia, and then I could start to see, like, okay, you know, with Blade Scout and this, and you know, maybe Omen Hawk or another 1-drop, you know, you could start to see aggressive Ionia deck, and it would make sense, but we'll see. So Pix goes from health from 1 to 2. I'm still not sure that's going to be enough. I mean, most 1-drops are 2-1, so it's dying to most of them anyway. If it just had 1 attack, even if it was just a 1-1, it would be way better. Maybe that's not in line with Pix, I'm not sure. You know, I'm not a big lore buff guy so I'm not you know, super sure. Maybe giving it 1 attack would just be completely against what Pix is about. But if it did have 1 attack, it would be much better, even if it just had 1 health still, just so that, you know, you could... Would it be too strong? I don't think so. I don't think so. It would be too strong at that point if it was just a 1-1. But they go with O2, and I think that just, again, just gives your opponent a free block. It's like 2 damage. Yeah, no, not really. Take the winner. A 5 mana by 5 now. So, you might know this is actually one of my favorite cards in the game. When it came out, I was like, whoa, I really love this card. I said at the time when I first saw it, and I said, I think in the first video I made with it in, which was a Braum deck, that the card will probably be changed. I remember one of the comments was something like, oh, the card's only just come out, like, oh, you know, it's not going to get changed, it's not that good of a card, blah, 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 all this, right? Telling me how stupid I was for the card being to change, and you know, to whoever that person was, well, here we are. Here we are. Literally the first chance that they've had to change the card, they've already changed it. And it didn't take a genius to figure that out either. Because, of course, anything with just better stats than every other card at that mana cost, with a good ability attached onto it, is just gonna be good. Too good. Like this, it's not rocket science. Not rocket science at all. So, yeah, the change makes sense. As sad as I am, because I really like the card, yeah, it just makes sense. It's just, it's now, you know, where it should be anyway. Ooh, Petty Officer from health 2 to 1. They brought it back, which is probably a good thing, because this card was, I mean, this card was genuinely probably one of the strongest cards in the game, like, low key. So this is a revert to change, yep. It's a bit too powerful in both controlling and aggressive build water strategies, yeah. Like, the fact that it has flexibility, you get the choice of the keg or the 1-drop. The 1-drop can potentially, you know, be anything from like an Omen Hawk and give you buffs, or, you know, just anything that just helps you out as well and gives you something for free, which, you know, quite a few 1-drops do. You know, just the stats on this card, you know, say you get a 1-2, you've got what? This used to have 4 worth of stats across 2 bodies for 3 mana. Yeah, that's good. I don't need to tell anyone that's good. So yeah, the card was just insane. And this is better, because now Petty Officer, you know, dies to make it rain, and you know, the 1-drop might die to make it rain, and the keg dies to make it rain. So yeah, certainly better. And now the card has gone from, you know, crazy to okay, it's decent, right? It's a fine card now. Bastion. The change of Bastion. Gold text. New text. Grant an ally 1/1 and spell shield. Grant? This card was already... Okay, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of this card. Well, they took this card that was already okay, and they made it insane. Well, it turns out we got a repeat. They've made a card that was okay, and now it's insane. So it grants the spell shield, right? I'm not reading this wrong. Give an ally spell shield this round. Grant an ally 1/1 and spell shield. It doesn't say this round. Grant an ally 1/1 and spell shield. And as we know, spell shield doesn't pop. It's, you know, after a round. It's not like barrier. It does stay. Let's read. What are they thinking? This sizable buff isn't sizable, you're telling me, is intended to both position Bastion as a core card within Targon and provide a boost to Targon buff decks. Well, it's a core card within Targon, I'll tell you that. The new design should also work much better with Taric or other decks that benefit from proactively casting spells. I'm not worried about Taric, my friend. If you wanted to make Taric better, then give him 3 attack. That's pretty simple. I could tell you that. This was not what I meant with give him 3 attack. So you give a thing 1/1 and spell shield. What? So this is like, I mean, the card already is like sort of pseudo deny, right? Like it's kind of like deny for like unit based removal kind of thing. Which already has a place, you know, straight away. Just being the card, the old card of what it was, already means that it has its place. Because it's like a sort of, you know, pseudo-deny in a sort of different way. And that's, you know, cool and interesting. And, you know, you can even use it proactively to, you know, help against frostbites and stuff like that. But, you know, when you did use it proactively, it was like, you know, you didn't feel great about it because, you know, they might not have it anyway. So I've just wasted 3 mana on a card. Potentially using when I didn't need to. Well, now don't worry about that, my friend. Use it proactively all the time. This is gonna kill some things. Anything that's like, oh my god, like Lee Sin with this, Lee Sin is everywhere, and it's been, to be honest, doing my head in. And you give that deck this? You give them the ability to just say, like, Lee Sin's biggest counter, or one of the big counters, was of course Frostbite. If Lee Sin has no attack, he doesn't do anything. That's good. That's good. But this is like, well, good luck. This card is going to be insane, and the best deck right now, 100% after this, is. I couldn't tell you the exact list, whether it runs another champion or not. It might not. But Lee Sin Targon now is going to be the best deck. Not even close. It already was up there, if not the best deck, you know, but it was certainly up there and a very strong deck at least. But this, with other things getting nerfed, like, you know, Bilgewater Petty Officer is a card that now, you know, isn't as good. Oh my god. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Crazy. Wow. Let's keep going. Cosmic Inspiration goes from, if you behold this card, grant allies everywhere 2/2, refill your spell mana, so they're just getting rid of the refill your spell mana, which makes sense. You know, it doesn't make much sense why this would be like a 4 mana card, give everything 2/2. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, good change. Grandfather Remoula. They did mention they were going to change this card. Grant an ally 0/4. Grant 2 allies 0/4. Now, I still have not played this card, and so I'm going to be honest. Can it target himself? I still don't actually know. But granting 2 allies 0/4. I still don't know, like, it is a play effect as well. I just think with any of these big followers, like, I don't know, they've got to do, like, compare this to Rex, it's like, it's not even close, right? Compare this to Leviathan, it's not really that close, considering how well Leviathan obviously synergizes with Swain. Like, where are you playing this? Why do you need the extra health? Maybe if there was like a deck that it's an ability in Magic that you sometimes see with like to give units their attack based on their defense. And if we see that kind of ability, which I think is a really cool ability and one that I kind of hope that we see, if that at some point comes in the game, then maybe you could play this. But otherwise, what are we doing? What are we doing? Hush! Here we go. The moment we've all been waiting for, one that I think we all wanted, and it's got a long text with it as well. Let's see. Silence a unit this round, create a fleeting hush in hand. Silence a unit this round, create a fleeting hush in hand that costs 1 more. Now this I think is what they did mention they were going to do, and I think everyone probably has the same sort of idea in that that's not enough. We'll read what they say, but you know, I mean, I don't think that this really hits where the card. It's kind of similar to Nab, where I just think they didn't really change Nab in a good way either. They kind of left it in an odd place and didn't really fix the core problems with it. But you know, people have moved on and we found more annoying things. And Hush, I think again, this is kind of the same thing where it's not hitting on what is actually the problem with the card. Let's read. Hush. Let's read. Gets the first word wrong. Hush is a card that the live design team has spent a lot of time evaluating. It's good. I could tell you that. You don't need to spend a lot of time evaluating. It's good. It's a good card. It's too good. Its ability to silence even champions for a round was meant to add to the game's interactivity, allowing previously unavailable counterplay to certain strategies and combinations. This is true. That is fair. That, you know, certain champions, obviously, like champions in general, couldn't really be silenced, I guess. So in a way, that's true. But I think the problem is anytime you silence things, like silencing things isn't really fun. Like taking text off cards is not. I think that's anti-fun rather than fun. And I don't really know who finds Hush a fun card to play. I never think like I'm giddy to play Hush and just take all their units and wipe away the text from them. I don't think that's ever fun. However, Hush's repeated fleeting design is also contributing to the opposite by excessively punishing certain strategies and itself shutting down counterplay opportunities. Yes. It's almost as if this was, you know, a slower speed in one way or another, then it wouldn't be a problem. Initially, we locked in the change you see here for patch 1.11 to make it more difficult for a single Hush to apply multiple silences. However, which it just isn't true, by the way. Like, yes, in some scenarios where they have 6 mana instead of 7 mana, you know, that rare scenario that they have 6 rather than 7, yes, it will make a difference. And in, you know, the other 90% of cases where they've got 8 or 7 or 9 or 10 or whatever, it won't matter. Anyway, however, since then we've continued to discuss the card and listen to your feedback. That's good. Ultimately, the ability to silence champions is a core strength that we want to preserve in Targon. Interesting. On the other hand, a repeatable AoE access to silence is difficult to justify in a region that we also want to have a general weakness against whiteboard in combat. For that reason, we decided to ready another change for patch 1.12. Interesting. As well, where we'll remove Hush's repeatable aspect entirely and reduce its cost. So Hush is probably going to be then a 2 mana silence a unit this round. 2 mana silence a unit this round. That's much better. You know, in the fact that you can't just destroy an entire strategy, like elusives. Like, you know, you can't just destroy a whole elusive strategy. You could maybe get rid of one. That still feels. I don't know. It still counters something so hard. I just don't like the card, I think. Like, how can you ever go like all in Fiora, which should be a relevant way to win the game? Well, that's not possible because Hush exists. How can you ever go all in Brawn? which should be a relevant way to win a game. Hush exists. And yes, that change might mean that, you know, people stop playing Hush, and so, you know, you potentially could still see it. But it's like, I don't like a card that just completely shuts down certain archetypes. Like, it will stop wideboard archetypes, but like, you know, as I say, like all-in Fiora or Braum or, you know, any other like all-in on X champion deck, it's just like, no. So we'll see. Going on, Mountain Goat goes from health 1 to 2. Good change. Mountain Goat becomes a solid card, just a really solid card. 2 mana, 3/2. It's a decent stat line that's going to give you something, and potentially, you know, give you quite a few. You know, like this could, you know, obviously proc multiple times. So yeah, Mountain Goat's now a card that you can really play. We've got some Guardians here. I kind of wanted to read about the single player lab just quickly. So you either go with Leona or Diana, wielding one of several powerful abilities and building your deck as you climb. Complete your journey with either champion and a unique icon for each. Face 3 unique, challenging battles against formidable enemies who have their own special abilities to match yours. Oh, cool. So it's kind of like a... doesn't Hearthstone... I mean, I've never really played Hearthstone, but I think it has similar things like this. Where you play against AI like... you know, sort of challenges. I think that's quite enjoyable, and I kind of hope they do more of this. And customize your deck by drafting reinforcements after each game. That's quite cool. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of this. The labs, I think they've been knocking out the park recently. We can see here that it looks like you're going to be able to add champions as well. That's pretty cool. And in-game leaderboards. Oh, so you can see a Masters leaderboard and a Friend leaderboard as well. Oh, that's pretty cool also. And some expedition changes. So, we've seen a bunch of changes. There are some that that aren't on there that maybe people would expect. Personally, I prefer if they would have buffed some champions, you know. When was the last time you saw Vlad in a competitive deck? The answer is never. You know, Katarina is another one. She's my favorite champion, so I really hope that she gets buffed. Are there more? I'm sure I mean, Tarek is another one that I think could use with a buff. You know, I wish they would have changed some of these, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. And yeah, you know, stuff like Riptide Rex could have maybe been touched on as well. I think that card still does quite a lot for what it's doing. But hey, there we go. Those are the changes. Hope you enjoy them. I think overall, I'd give this like... I mean, this helps me a little, but still, I'm not. I'll wait maybe for 1.12 to be happy, I guess. So I'd give this overall a B-. Like the actual changes they've made, aside from the Bastion as well. What are they doing? No, C+. This is crazy. And no, yeah, what are they doing? Anyway, goodbye. My name's been Chris. Get ready for Lee Sin Bastion to be everywhere. Hope you enjoy Lee Sin Bastion, because if you don't, then you know, good luck to us all. Yeah, goodbye. My name's been Chris. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Have a really nice day.